80%, they don't give a fuck about 30.
Right.
They'll take that cup just to get up next.
Right.
80%, no, I bet you. 90 minutes to finish making the weight.
What made Israel Adesanya dance over his unconscious opponent after his victory? Now, you must be wondering what made Adesanya do these kinds of disrespectful things. But then, some winners take it a step further in UFC matches, from mocking a downed opponent to excessive taunting. These celebrities leave fans divided. Let us check some of the most disrespectful victory celebrations in the UFC or MMA world. Number 5 is Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa in UFC 253. At UFC 253 in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, Israel Adesanya closed up the event with a second round TKO victory over Paulo Costa. Adding yet another incredible chapter to his legacy. It was an unusual encounter between two unbeaten warriors in their prime who actually hated each other, and the middleweight title ended somewhat one-sided with a disrespectful celebration. UFC 253, held on September 27, 2020, was electric. The main event pitted the reigning middleweight champion Adesanya, nicknamed the Last Stylebender, against the undefeated Paulo Costa, known as the Eraser. The fight was a clash of styles. Adesanya, a technical and precise striker with a focus on footwork and distance, versus Costa, a raw powerhouse with damaging punches and pressure. The first round was a chess match. Adesanya utilized his punch and leg kicks, picking Costa apart from the outside. Costa, however, absorbed the punishment and stalked Adesanya, waiting for an opening to unleash his punches. The tension was visible as both fighters measured each other up. The second round exploded into action. Costa landed a blow that rocked Adesanya for a moment, but the champion remained composed. Then, with a flash of brilliance, Adesanya released a perfectly timed leg kick that caught Costa on the side of the head. Costa crumpled, and the referee waved the fight. The champion had spectacularly retained his title. Adesanya's post-fight antics were disrespectful though. He danced on top of the unconscious Costa, a move many felt was unnecessary. His victory speech, mixed with arrogance, rubbed many fans the wrong way. What should have been a moment of victory became a showcase of poor sportsmanship. Despite the distasteful celebration, Adesanya's dominance inside the ring was undeniable, guys. He displayed tactical brilliance and exceptional striking. However, the night will also be remembered for the lack of grace shown by Adesanya. Adesanya may have silenced Costa, but his actions left a question mark hanging over his character. Number 4 is Michael Bisping versus Luke Rockhold in UFC 199. UFC 199 was set to be a coronation for the reigning middleweight champion, Luke Rockhold. He'd already beaten Michael Bisping and seemed poised to defend his title against a short-notice replacement. Bisping, on the other hand, was fresh off of filming a movie and hadn't trained in months. This was a classic underdog story written for the fans. The odds were stacked up against Bisping. But as the arena lights bathed the octagon, something unexpected happened. In a shocking turn of events, Bisping landed a left hook that crumpled Rockhold to the canvas, just 3 minutes and 36 seconds into the first round. The underdog had dethroned the king. Pandemonium erupted. Bisping, known for his bold personality, unleashed a celebration that would become as legendary or infamous as the win itself. He climbed the cage, screaming obscenities at a stunned Rockhold. He then grabbed the microphone and launched into a rant directed at Rockhold's appearance, mocking his physique and even his family. The celebration was undeniably disrespectful. While Bisping's emotions were raw after the upset victory, many felt his words crossed the line. Rockhold, ever the silent man, responded with a now iconic post-fight press conference speech. promising to regain his title and leave Bisping looking like a lost beast. UFC 199 became a night etched into MMA history. Bisping's underdog victory proved that anything is possible inside the octagon. However, it was his outrageous celebration that stole the headlines, sparking debates about sportsmanship and the fine line between passion and disrespect. Number 3 is Jorge Masvidal vs Ben Askren at UFC 239. UFC 239 witnessed one of the most explosive moments in the ring's history. The welterweight clash between Masvidal and Askren was steeped in pre-fight bad blood. Both fighters, known for their sharp tongues, traded words in the lead-up, but nothing could prepare the audience for what happened in a mere 5 seconds. The fight began and tension crackled in the air. As Askren dipped for a takedown, a perfectly timed flying knee from Masvidal connected flush with his jaw. Askren crumpled instantly, unconscious before he even hit the mat. The referee didn't even need to count. It was the fastest knockout in UFC history, a record that still stands today. The crowd erupted in a frenzy. Masvidal, with the nickname Gamebred, roared in victory. This wasn't just a victory, it was a silencing blow. The celebration that followed was as dramatic as the KO itself. Masvidal, fueled by the hatred and the lightning-quick win, unleashed a torrent of disrespect towards Askren. He refused to answer questions about his opponent in the post-fight interview, simply stating, "If you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all." This cold response, delivered moments after a brutal knockout, perfectly captured the intensity of the rivalry. The celebration wasn't over. Masvidal, still amped up, demanded a 3-piece and a soda from UFC brass, referencing a previous altercation with Askren. This phrase, along with the record-breaking knockout, became an instant sensation. UFC 239's main event might have been forgettable, but the welterweight clash between Masvidal and Askren was anything but. It was a brutal display of fighting excellence, followed by a celebration that encapsulated the raw emotions of the sport. The disrespect might have been controversial, but the fight is marked in UFC history. Number 2 is Michael Venom Page vs Evangelista Santos at Bellator 158. Bellator 158 witnessed a clash of styles and a moment forever marked in MMA history. Michael Venom Page, known for his flamboyant showmanship and unorthodox striking, faced the undefeated grappler Evangelista Cyborg Santos. The fight was a dance between Page's flashy kicks and lightning-fast hands and Santos's relentless takedown attempts. The first round was a chess match. Page peppered Santos with punches and leg kicks, while Santos searched for openings to bring the fight to the ground. The turning point came in the second round. Santos lunged for a takedown, leaving himself open. In a blink, Page uncorked a spectacular flying knee that landed flush on Santos's forehead. The impact was horrifying, a clean, technical strike with devastating consequences. Santos crumpled instantly, his face in pain. The referee rushed in to wave off the fight, and Page stood in victory. But what followed was a celebration that tarnished the win. Page, known for his theatrics, went a bit overboard. He mimicked the way Santos fell, then performed a series of exaggerated, celebratory poses that may have been deemed disrespectful to his fallen opponent. The crowd's initial roar turned into a mixture of cheers and boos. Even commentators criticized Page's actions. While his knockout was impressive, the excessive celebration left a bitter taste in the mouth of everyone present. This fight became a highlight, not just for the spectacular knockout, but also for the controversy that surrounded it. It was a reminder of the fine line between celebration and disrespect in the ring, leaving a complex legacy for MVP and Bellator 158. Number 1 is Chael Sonnen vs Wanderlei Silva at UFC 117. UFC 117 wasn't just about the epic middleweight title fight. The fight witnessed another clash of titans, with Chael Sonnen fresh off his dominant win over Nate Marquardt, taking on the legendary Wanderlei Silva. The fight was a classic striker versus grappler matchup. Silva, known for his devastating Muay Thai and knockout power, faced Sonnen, the relentless wrestler with a knack for controlling fights on the ground. The opening bell erupted and the crowd roared. Silva, as expected, unleashed a set of brutal punches, but Sonnen weathered the storm, clinching and expertly taking Silva down. For the next 3 rounds, it became a wrestling clinic by Sonnen. He dominated top control, taking down Silva and landing enough ground and pound to keep him on the defensive. The frustrated Silva, used to dictating fights with his striking, looked lost on the mat. With seconds ticking away in the 4th round, Sonnen landed a brutal elbow, splitting Silva open. The ref paused the action, allowing Silva to recover. As they resumed, with Silva clearly bleeding and compromised, Sonnen capitalized. He secured a right triangle choke, forcing a tap just before the final horn. The crowd erupted in a mixture of cheers and boos. Sonnen had pulled off the unthinkable, defeating a legend dominantly. However, Sonnen's post-fight celebrations left a sour taste. He climbed onto the cage, ripped off his shirt, and taunted the Brazilian crowd, disrespecting the fallen warrior in their midst. This display overshadowed his impressive victory, turning a moment of triumph into a display of poor sportsmanship. Despite the controversy, Sonnen's win over Silva cemented his status as a top contender. UFC 117 would be his night of ultimate glory, but it was a stepping stone on a path that would lead him to a future middleweight title shot against the same Anderson Silva, a fight forever marked in MMA history. Do you think it's time the UFC starts penalizing fighters who celebrate wildly and disrespectfully? Do share your opinions in the comments section. For more interesting stories and updates, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon for notifications. Until next time.